Hi, Tanya here. So, if you have alopecia and you don't wear a wig, chances are you've been asked many times, do you have cancer? Are you going through chemo? How's chemo going? Well, that's understandable because 40.8% of men and women will develop cancer at some point in their lifetime. So the chance of you running into someone who's going through chemo is much higher than the chance of you running into someone who has alopecia. So my friend Mo, who has alopecia universalis, was at this yoga class one time. And just before the class was about to start, it was all quiet, and this lady whispered from across the room. She was like, "Are you going through chemo right now?" It was a whisper, but it was across the room and everybody could hear it. And so Mo said, "No, I have alopecia. It's this autoimmune condition that causes my body to reject my hair." And the lady must have misheard her, so she whispered back and said, "Me too." And well, obviously she didn't have alopecia. She was going through chemo. It was just a very awkward moment. Like, he's like, no, I don't have cancer. So if they ask, it's a perfect time for you to tell them what alopecia is, because chances are they don't know. And the benefit of that is that after you tell them, they know the next person with alopecia they run into, you're doing something good for that next person. This person now has been educated. They know what alopecia is. The reason why I say, think about the other people with alopecia is that because sometimes when it's not about you, it actually makes it easier. One time I took this improv introduction class, and the instructor said that he was so nervous about improv classes that he wasn't able to be as funny as he actually is. And the tip he got was that you're trying to support the other person in improv. You're trying to help the other person be funny. And once he realized that, he was able to let go of his nervousness. So it's loosely parallel to this scenario where you don't think of it as like, oh, why are they asking me all these questions? Like, think of it as you are in a way an ambassador for people with alopecia, right? You're doing this to help other people with alopecia. You're doing this to raise awareness. So how do I usually explain my alopecia to people? Well, I just say it's an autoimmune condition where my body is allergic to my hair, so it rejects it. And depending on who I'm talking to, sometimes I emphasize that it's a genetic thing so that people understand it's not contagious. Sometimes I emphasize that it can happen to anyone at any age, men and women equally. The reason why I do that is that, you talk to anyone, guy or girl, at any age, and you say, yeah, I used to have tons of hair, and then in 3 weeks, bam, all my hair is gone. They will be thinking that, well, oh shit, that could happen to me too. And they put themselves in your shoes a little bit more so, right? A little bit more easily. Basically, you're saying it could happen to them too. And yeah, it's 2% chance. So it helps for them to see that possibility. And if you feel that people are feeling sorry for you, you could change that just by emphasizing that this is a purely cosmetic thing, it doesn't affect my health, and it's the only disease that I know that has a fetish following. I mean, the best way for people to not feel sorry for you is that you feel great about yourself, that you can see the lighter side of things. Sometimes I would say, there are other people with alopecia like Patrick Stewart or Joanna Rosell, the Olympic athlete, or Kevin Bull, who totally nailed it on American Ninja Warrior, or Francesca Bass, who also totally nailed it on So You Think You Can Dance. So you can mention these cool people with alopecia if you want. You can mention models who have shaved their heads, like Amber Rose or Tia Singh, who actually won an Asia Supermodel Award the year that she shaved her head. Also, there's this Australian model, Stefania Ferrario, and this another famous model, Eve Salvell. It's like you're the brand ambassador for alopecia, so you're emphasizing all the positive things. What do you do when people don't ask? They just assume. Well, I have a few friends that take advantage of that actually. You know, like you get to cut through the lineup or you get a discount at a hotel and they don't say anything about it, they just take it. And I think that's really cute. It's kind of awesome. Because why so serious? Now, what if people don't ask because they feel like it invades your privacy, but you could feel that they are assuming that you have cancer? Well, you can find a chance to bring it up and talk about your alopecia. That will clear the air of awkwardness when you just open up and talk about it. When people see that you're okay to talk about it, then they are okay with it. Or you can just bring it up point blank. In case you're wondering, did I have cancer? I don't. A lot of problems are solved just by communicating what's on our minds. And it brings us closer. There's no need to get defensive about it. Shift your perspective a bit and think of it as that you are now raising awareness for people with alopecia. You can think of it as an icebreaker too, an opportunity to connect with someone. Because so many times I tell people that have alopecia, they're impressed with how I deal with that. They are inspired by it, or sometimes they tell me something that is more private to them. You know, maybe they have another disease. Maybe it's not visible. They'll share that with you. So it's a good way to connect with someone. When you think about it this way, it's not so tiring to answer all these questions anymore. I mean, what's worse? Answering all these questions, do you have cancer, or actually having cancer? Now, there are ways to not get asked a million times, do you have cancer? Are you going to chemo? How's chemo going? So I'll talk about that in my next video. And in the meantime, subscribe and we'll talk soon. Bye!